All right, sports fans in Greater Moncton, let's dive into the real estate market and summarize December. And I will give you a few key points on where I think the market is heading in 2024. And if you stick around to the end, I will tell you how to time the market. My name is Cameron Brioux, and I'm a licensed realtor here in the province of New Brunswick. And if you have any specific questions about real estate, you can go into the first link in the description and book a call with me at a time that works best for you, or we can simply connect on social media. Well, the market does seem like we have come to what is a normal market cycle, meaning that we have a busy spring and a busy fall. There are some stats that I wanted to go over for December because we did see a busier December than we did see in years previous. And that's interesting. And I'll touch on that in a little bit. I'm going to throw some stats up on the screen here. Now, this year in December, we sold 210 properties in the Greater Moncton area, whereas in the previous year, we only sold
180.
Yet our year-to-date sales were down by nearly 400 properties. Now, if you haven't followed along to these videos or you've seen some of my posts on Instagram, you have noted that there is a bit of a slowdown with listings coming to market. I do make mention of this weekly, and there is no surprise. There's a lot of people with uncertainty in the market. We know that interest rates played a big factor. We do know that pricing and expectation of other properties that they need to buy comes into question. So that did affect how many properties were sold. Yet we sold almost $1.2 billion of real estate in the Greater Moncton area. And if you can believe that it was a slight dip from previous years, you're not wrong. Our overall sales volume is down, but what is most unique, and I'm sure that this is where everybody is waiting to hear, and you'll be happy to know that the price point year over year is up. We've continued to trend upwards for the last number of months and years sustained. And I do have a prediction at the end of the video, but this year we're in around 5% year over year price growth, which is fantastic. Our detached home price is in around $351,000, whereas our semi detached price is probably the most unique because it's not that far behind. We're actually at 344,000, which is up from 323,000 in 2022. I know this is wild. We have semi-detached homes that are almost the same price as detached homes. Now, there are some factors that come into pricing, and I do get this question often. And as sellers are preparing to make their decision for the spring market, I'll highlight a few things for you. Pricing is representative of the age, the condition, with the overall square footage taken into consideration and using the neighborhood as a benchmark. So if you're an older house in an older neighborhood, but your neighbor had updated his kitchen, bathroom, and everything inside, there is a good chance that there is more value within that property. Now, this is a case by case process, so hopefully that little example shed a little bit of light on how benchmark pricing is done. Now, on the buying side, there still seems to be speculation from these buyers in conversation and news media articles, but the stats in December trump some of these ideas that we've been hearing in the media because they've been out buying. Now, I do think that the buyers did come out in December because we did see a few more listings in December than we did in November and in previous years. And if the inventory is available, then the buyers might come to market. They might have slowed their buying decision at the end of the spring market, and when their ideal property came to market, they decided that now was the right time. Now, where are we headed in 2024? Great question. In these videos, I often talk about the Greater Moncton area, which is Moncton, Dieppe, and Riverview. Now, there are some outlying communities that do get factored in terms of real estate, but not often for conversation for the Greater Moncton area. Shediac is a community that's about 20 minutes down the highway on the water from Moncton. It's often known for having a massive lobster as a tourist attraction, but they've been doing a phenomenal job building out the community with various housing types at various prices, both for sale and for rent, which is driving people to that community. As a whole, in the Greater Moncton area, we are seeing a lot of rental development that will continue in the 2024 building season as our permits are up. And there is strong consideration for people to renovate homes. In a previous video, I had briefly talked about a housing grant opportunity for rentals. If you wanted to do a secondary basement suite, the City of Moncton has up to $10,000 available on a grant case by case program that would allow you to do a renovation of a secondary suite or even an additional dwelling on your property to help stimulate the amount of housing supply that we need in our community. Now, in our media, we often have a lot of topic on affordability and access. In Moncton, it seems that we do have a bit of an access issue, but that is closely tied with the supply of properties. Now, that's not something that we can change overnight. It's going to take years and years and potentially a lot of government intervention to help move that in a different direction. But right now, what we have in terms of housing supply are builders that are developing for rent, which are various housing types that allow various different customers to be able to access this product. There is a massive opportunity for a large scale home builder to come and build homes for sale, but that can't happen overnight. But what we do know is that as supply starts to increase, that will affect our market. For the time being, it looks like we are trending towards what some will call a seller's market. And I did make a caveat on Instagram recently where the seller's market will not apply to all homes, which is logical. But we should recognize homes that are under $400,000 would fall into that bracket of being in demand because it is very close to the average home price, and that seems to be where a largest amount of the buyer pool is looking. So, in a seller's market, there is increased demand, reduced supply, which drives the price point upward. And if you are on the selling side, in some cases, when you're getting your property ready for sale, it makes more sense to repair versus replace something. Now, if you are curious how that applies to your unique situation, you can certainly reach out to me and we can have a conversation in your home and I can give you my opinion on properties that are more expensive that might compare to the example that I gave previously in this video, where your neighbor has redone their kitchen and bathroom and painted the entire house. Those are some of the steps you might need to take to access that value that they had. Otherwise, your price point might be different. All right, at the top of the video, I told you I will teach you how to time the market. Now, here are the steps, and there are a few of them. You might want to grab a pen and paper and write these down. And if you would, write your favorite step in the comment down below. Step number one is to fall in love with an area. Go to an area, experience the parks, see how it feels, see how it smells. That's a joke for Moncton North. And experience it. Perhaps integrate going to that area on your way to or from work, or to your yoga class, or to your hockey practice, and see how it feels. That's step number one with relatively no or low commitment. Step number two is understanding your budget and your finance. So that might be a quick budget calculation, back of the napkin, or using a great app that's out there, and understanding how much you currently pay for your housing and understanding how that relates to your financial goals and moving forward. Step number three would be talking to your trusted mortgage professional. That could be your bank or that could be a broker, and understand what the buying process with the various products they have would be and how you would fit in and ultimately get an idea of a monthly payment based on the stress test or affordability or even selling your current house. And step number three would be reaching out to your favorite realtor, perhaps somebody like me that's providing information so that you can make an informed decision. Step number four really is tied into, does it make sense to move? The most logical time to make your move or to buy a house or to sell a house is when it makes sense to you. And the finance side is a big component in that. Life changes are also a big component within that. There is no perfect time to buy a house unless it makes sense for you. And if you look at the stats that I presented within this video, it's very clear that Moncton is poised for growth and that we should see sustained price growth or equity in your home for years to come. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, and at the time of this recording, we are seeing those sustained growth numbers from previous years, and we do know that as supply is added to our market, things should change. I would appreciate it if you dropped your favorite step in the comments down below. So the first part of this year, I do think we are going to be coming to market strong. Any listing that is going to come to market that is below $400,000, you should expect to see multiple offers. And those properties that are above $400,000, I think that you will see more marketing. In my own business, I've seen TikTok as a major driver to get popularity to a product. And I'll go out on a limb and say that social media will be selling properties for years to come because it's the best way to get eyeballs on a property and have buyers interact with that agent with their questions. They can be at various points in the buying cycle, but mark my words, social media is definitely here to stay and it will impact how we do our business.